Welcome into Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast. We are presented by BetMGM. I'm your host, Brendan Glasheen, joined today by Anthony DeBundo. I don't want to bury the lead. DeBundo will be here to give a Dinger Tuesday pick or two later in the show. And I did that now because I forgot to do that last week. So DeBundo's here to give other picks as well. And BJ Cunningham is back with us for today's episode. We will go through the entire 15-game slate. We're live every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday during the baseball season. Please rate, review, and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. We will find out if we're fading the public today. I was kind of surprised to see a team that loaded up in the offseason is being undermined today by another team. We'll get to that. Underdogs that we like, and then our final bets, and we will go. Starting with best bets. DeBundo, we'll go to you first. What do you like for today?
I like the under 8.5 in the Mariners-Phillies game. This is really all about the wind and how it affects the games at Citizens Bank Park. I've talked about this on the show before. The wind blowing in tonight, about 8 to 10 miles an hour from left field, a little bit of a crosswind as the game settles in. That's a major benefit for Bailey Falter, the left-handed starter for the Phillies. The Mariners do project better against left-handed pitching and do have some big right-handed bats in that lineup. Falter's biggest problem has been his his home runs. He's got good command. He tends to give up the home run ball, and so backing him in Philly can be dangerous because it tends to play as a pretty friendly hitter's park. But given the run environment with the pretty low temperatures in the 50s and the wind blowing in, I think that helps Falter big time. And underrated is this Philadelphia Phillies bullpen. In the last week, they have had a .75 ERA, 26 strikeouts, 3 walks. It's a bullpen that's going to be highly volatile throughout the season because they have a lot of stuff guys who don't always have great command. But in a close game, which I think this will be, there's a very strong bullpen for both teams. Seattle and Philly are both top 8 in stuff plus bullpens this season. And strikeout minus walk rate, at least in strikeout rate, the Phillies and the Mariners are top 10 as well. So I think this game gets to the Pens after Falter goes 5, and the well-rested Pens should shut this game down. Phillies also in their worst offensive split against righties. They project better against left-handed pitching this season.
Okay, best bet for you, BJ Cunningham, on this 15-gamer.
I like the Tigers and Brewers over 8.5 runs. Spencer Turnbull is going to be on the mound. He's been pretty bad coming off Tommy John surgery. Through 4 starts, he's given up 16 earned runs and has a 6.4 expected ERA. And the problem for him is that his velocity is down across the board on all of his pitches. He's just not able to garner the swings and misses like he did in 2021. Also, his ground ball rate is down around 8 or 9%, which, he was able to utilize his slider and sinker very effectively down in the zone in 2021. And that's why he had around a 3 expected ERA. Well, now he's not able to get those type of ground balls. So he's leaving the ball more up in the zone, which means his barrel rate is up, sweet spot rate is up across the board. Milwaukee has been a very good offense this season. The 324 weighted on base average, 101 weighted runs created plus, which is 8th in Major League Baseball. And it's all come against right-handed pitching because they're top 7 in almost every single offensive metric, including a plus 14.2 run value against Turnbull's 3 pitches of fastball, slider, and changeup. Now, Eric Lauer is going to be on the mound for the Brewers. He had, a halfway decent season last year, around a 4 expected ERA, and he was actually very dominant with his fastball. Opposing hitters only had a 271 expected weighted on base average against it. But this season, his velocity on his fastball is down 3 miles per hour. He was averaging close to 94 miles per hour last season. This season, he's below 91. So that has caused all, his fastball to skyrocket in terms of the expected batting average and expected weighted on base average allowed. And now his expected ERA is up at 5.4. And the other part of it is he's basically abandoned his slider. Now he's basically only a fastball cutter pitcher. He does have a curveball that he throws in there, so not many off-speed pitches for hitters to see. I understand the Tigers have been the worst offense against left-handed pitching this season, but also both of these bullpens are pretty average in terms of xFIP. And even Milwaukee's bullpen, to begin the season was up there in stuff plus and pitching plus near the top. Well, now they've kind of cratered down towards the middle of the pack. So, I'm projecting 9.1 runs for this game. So I like over 8.5 runs at minus 110.
Righty, couple totals to get us started here tonight, and just looking at some of these teams and how they've been so far to the number. Seattle, which was a game DeBundo highlighted, they've been an over team, 12-9-1 this season overall. And again, this is just you got to throw some of this out the window when you want to bet baseball. There's too much variance, right? But that's really it in terms of ones that jumped out from one to the next.
Yeah, I'm very tempted to play Detroit. I know they've been really bad against lefties, but we've talked about this with Zerillo. I know he's mentioned this on the show before. They project as an above average team against lefties and one of the worst offenses against righties just going forward. Have some big right-handed bats in that lineup. So I'm really low on Eric Lauer coming into the season. His fastball velocity is way down. Stuff plus is way down. Turnbull is a guy who the peripherals like strikeout minus walk don't really like, but some of the other stuff like stuff does like Turnbull and some of the changes he's made. So I'm very tempted to play Detroit. Haven't gotten there yet, but we'll be thinking about it throughout the day. Follow me in the app.
I was going to say Turnbull's stuff plus in 2021 was 107, which is very, very good. So if he can, I've wrote about him before, but my theory on him is if he can find something of what he was in 2021, he will provide value going forward, but we got to see that first.
Yeah, 99 stuff plus this year. So right around average. So not terrible.
All right. Detroit Tigers, fewest runs scored in baseball at this point in the year, 64 runs. Even the A's have scored more runs than this Tigers team. But BJ likes the over today against some vulnerable matchups playing the Brewers. Okay, moving on. We're going to find out. We're going to fade the public on this Tuesday. So there's plenty of public sides. The one that jumped out to us, the Chicago Cubs are getting 80% of the bets and 87% of the dollars. The Cubs visit the Padres today. So the Cubs are home. I beg your pardon. Cubs are at home, and they're a slight favorite at minus 130. San Diego has Blake Snell on the mound, and Steele's pitching for Chicago. I guess this is a reflection of people really liking Steele. BJ, are the people on the right side here?
I mean, Justin Steele is a fantastic pitcher. I mean, so far, he's really showing it this season. He's got a 1.5 ERA to begin the season. I was expecting to raise around 3.5, but he legitimately was the Cubs' best starting pitcher last season, and he's really showing that this season. Now, Blake Snell, he's been bad. It's very bad. 6 ERA, 6.8 expected ERA. The stuff plus numbers, though, for Snell are, decent at 102, but his pitching plus is at 92. So that tells me his command is all over the place right now. So, if the number floats up there to, plus 125, I might have to fire on the Padres. But other than that, I'm passing.
Bundo, Justin Steele v. Blake Snell. Are folks sleeping on Snell too much?
Yeah, I think so, personally. We talked about this last week. I think it was Tuesday I was on, and it was Snell against Strider. And I bet the under 8.5, and I was like, look, this is a pretty favorable matchup for Blake Snell because Atlanta will chase. They hunt those barrels. They swing and miss a lot. They will not be patient and wait out Snell's walks. And that's pretty much what happened. The game ended up going over because the bullpens blew up, but Snell was good. And I just, we have seen this with Blake Snell so many times, where he has a slow start or he has a stretch where he can't throw a strike. He walks too many guys and he gets paid for it. But then he'll have a stretch where to 10 to 15 straight starts, he's just unhittable. So it's really hard to project Blake Snell on a game-to-game basis because you really don't know where he's going to end up. I mean, in that specific start, he generally ends up pretty consistently like a number 2-3 starter. The thing about this matchup, the Cubs don't really chase. They're bottom 10 in the league in chase rate. So that could be tricky, but I did bet the under anyway. I like the Cubs against righties more from a projection standpoint, number one. And number two, the wind's blowing in at Wrigley. So when it is, I bet the under. It's pretty simple for me. And it's a 57% hit rate, I think. Wrigley unders when the wind's blowing in. 10-mile-an-hour winds straight in from center today at Wrigley. That's why you're seeing the total so low. It's even touched 7 briefly overnight. So under 7.5, winds blowing in, go Cubs. Go under.
Yeah, 7 jumped out to me too when I was taking a look here. I think the other low total tonight, yes, it's Twins Yankees. That total is set at 7 for tonight as well. And 7 is the line at BetMGM. Cortez and Ryan, you're starting
two
pitching
top 20
matchup.
starters in the American League.
Yeah.
Maybe all of baseball.
Okay. Still, I mean, geez, that's a Sevens are low, right? Sevens are low, but
You want to guess? You want to guess the temp in Minnesota tonight, Brendan?
46.
Close.
39.
You guys are both right in the middle. 42.
Oof.
I was closer.
Gonna be a beautiful one in Minneapolis.
I was closer by 3. DeBundo was
And it's
4.
only gonna get colder as the sun sets.
Yeah, but we are moving towards the summer. So
That's true.
Ideally, it would be warmer. But
And for those of you on the east and west coast, Minnesota is a beautiful place in the summer with all the lakes.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Land of 10,000 lakes, some would say.
Yep.
Okay. Let's go to our favorite underdogs of the day. I was happy to see, I think it was both of you on one of our podcasts here at Payoff Pitch, for one of the first we did of the year. DeBundo, you first. Noah Syndergaard's pitching for the Dodgers, and go to the other side would be my advice. And I take, I give Zarello a lot of credit for that. He's kind of got me to the understanding that Noah Syndergaard is no longer the man he once was. In New York, Pirates have won 7 straight, and you're riding him today.
Absolutely. This is a pretty depleted Dodger lineup now. Max Muncy is on the paternity leave. Will Smith remains injured. He will not play this series, it looks like. And that means Austin Wynns is going to be behind the plate for the Dodgers likely. And he is one of the worst catchers in baseball, and it makes a huge impact. Pitch calling. If you watched the Cubs with Urias, the matchup on Friday with Wynns behind the plate, Urias got absolutely destroyed by the Cubs. It just he's not a good defensive catcher. He doesn't really hit, and it makes a big impact trying to stop the running game as well, which is already a huge problem when you have Thor on the mound. So I think Pittsburgh has a lot of advantages here. They have the better starting pitcher. And really, I know Brian Reynolds is still out for Pittsburgh, but this lineup isn't that much worse than the Dodgers right now because of all the absences, be it due to injury or parental duties that are happening for the Dodgers here. So I like Pittsburgh plus 110 at home. Johan Oviedo has had a huge breakout the last year, maybe half year of 2022 and into 2023. Now has 2+ breaking balls that have been really effective. His fastball is not great, but he hides it well. And Oviedo has pitched to a sub-3 xERA since August of 2022. So do I think he'll maintain that? Probably not, but I think he's clearly an improved pitcher from the one that we saw in St. Louis that really couldn't quite put the pieces together. So I'm going to roll with the Pirates plus 110 at home. Long gone are the days when you get like plus 170, plus 180, but this Dodgers pitching staff with Thor, his stuff has not returned at all. His fastball is still sitting in the 90s. This is not a very good situation for the Dodgers, given their injuries. We might even see some Mookie at short. It's a sign of just how desperate they're getting at this point in the season.
Okay. I don't hate it. It makes a lot of sense. The looking, and this was not a fade the public option, folks, because the Dodgers are getting 52% of the cash, but 81% of the tickets are on Pittsburgh. They've won 7 straight. They swept the Rockies. They took 4 from the Reds, all at home, and now they welcome the Dodgers in. And LA just came off their series. What are the Dodgers? They played the Cubs. That's right, over the weekend. So there you go.
Yeah,
okay.
I think one other thing is with Pittsburgh, people expect this offense to regress. I mean, I do too, ultimately, but they are top 6 in expected WOBA. So it's not a total fluke or a run of luck that has gotten them to this point. They have deserved their start by far. The question is whether those hitters will continue to do that. But the youth and the speed and the athleticism of this unit right now against a team like the Dodgers, who don't have a good catcher or a pitcher right now, is a major problem.
And both teams are coming off an off day. So that's just keep that in mind. It's not like the Dodgers have the rest advantage, and Pittsburgh played yesterday against the Reds. So or not the Reds. Yes, the Reds. Do I have that right? I've got my schedules all screwed up.
Sunday against the Reds, yeah.
Sunday against the Reds. Thank you. So yes, we're good.
By the way, Thor's fastball is one of the 5 worst in all of baseball this year among starters. 63 stuff plus.
I mean, he's throwing 90 miles an hour now.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It's over.
All right. Very good. Let's go to BJ. Favorite dog for tonight, please.
Rockies plus 175 in Cleveland. Peyton Battenfield will be on the mound for the Guardians. if it wasn't for the injury to Aaron Civale, like he would not have come up to the majors. If you look at his numbers from AAA last season, they were actually quite bad. 3.6 ERA, but his xFIP was up at 5.7. He has an incredibly low K per 9 rate, and it's because he does not have good stuff. He is a very, very below average fastball that only is in the low 90s. His best pitch is his cutter, which is okay, by Stuff Plus numbers. But overall for, through his first 2 starts, his Stuff Plus is at 85. So he is somebody that's going to eventually get hit in the majors. He's gotten away with it through his first 2 starts with a 1.6 ERA. He's going up against Ryan Feltner, who actually hasn't been that bad this season, although his ERA is ballooned up to 6.9. His expected ERA is sitting around 4.5. What he's done this season is he's throwing his slider more often than his fastball, and his slider is by far his best pitch. So I think he's only going to improve as he becomes less reliant on that fastball. And his Stuff Plus numbers are at 95. So he is a below average starting pitcher, but guess what? He's not worse than Peyton Battenfield. And this is something I keep harping on every single episode, but the Cleveland Guardians are minus 15 in defensive runs saved. The only team worse in Major League Baseball right now are the Oakland Athletics. So now Cleveland doesn't have this advantage defensively, although Colorado is a bad defensive team themselves. But for Peyton Battenfield to be this high of a favorite is a little insane to me. So I like the Rockies at plus 175.
Feels like the market hasn't fully corrected on them based on how they've played lately.
Yeah.
I know they got kind of roughed up there against the Phillies. They won that opening game in that series. I think they were plus 190 when Zerillo gave them out, and then that was last week. And
then the Rockies won last night,
6-0
against Quantrill.
Wow. And that was probably a popular under game, but probably role reversal in terms of who scored the runs, right?
Right.
With Quantrill pitching. Who faded Quantrill yesterday on the pod? Was it
none of us? None of us were all losers.
Was Charlie down on him yesterday?
No, he didn't.
No. We talked about how we don't like Cal Quantrill and how he's lucky, but we can't get behind Austin Gomber, and then Gomber goes out and throws shut-off ball.
Right.
So
that's right. It was it was fade the public. That's
what
everyone. And of course, once again, the Colorado Rockies were significantly overlooked. So, and once again, 84% of the bets, 84% of the dollars, 94% of the bets coming in on the Guardians tonight. So take that for what it's worth. BJ's on the Rockies. Okay, some final bets. We'll go DeBundo first, then BJ, and DeBundo, of course, has his Dinger Tuesday picks. So we'll make sure we get those in. Go ahead, DeBundo.
Yeah, I'm going to take Oakland and the Angels F5 under. There's still a 5 out there right now, minus 120. I love everything I've seen from Mason Miller thus far. He's added a third pitch that grades out as very well above average by Stuff Plus. He catches the Angels in a negative split. The Angels project much better against lefties than they do against righties. And so Miller there against Griffin Canning, who hasn't really pitched a lot in the last couple of years. He's had a ton of injuries, but the first start was pretty encouraging for him. And I'm a believer in Canning stuff playing through against this lineup for Oakland, which is still one of the worst in the league. So I'm going to roll with the F5 under. I don't hate a look on the A's F5 as well. I've decided I will not be betting the A's full game at any time because this bullpen is about as bad as it gets in Major League Baseball. I mean, their Stuff Plus as a bullpen as a whole for the season is 88, which is very bad. But keep in mind, that includes innings from Trevor McGill and Zach Jackson, who are now injured, who are above average relievers. Take those two out of the picture, and it's legitimately one of the worst bullpens I've ever seen. And, if you watched the game last night, you saw that they blew a huge lead that Waldichuk pitched pretty well for 5 innings, and then the bullpen came in and gave it away. So, the A's F5 only for me right now. This bullpen is so hard to project because it is just that bad.
I know you guys dive into the extra numbers, and that's great. I go to the some other sites and I find, and by other sites I mean just like regular statistics. Just put it simply, everybody, their bullpen ERA is over 7. 76
Not-
earned runs,
Not great.
99 hits.
I don't have the expected number on that, but the xFIP is the worst in the league as well. So
And
they're
they're-
not striking guys out. They're walking a lot of guys.
66 walks by their bullpen.
And they're the worst defensive team.
It's not even close to the rest of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it's not a
crazy.
major league bullpen.
But
There are definitely AAA bullpens that are better.
this is going to be a fun team to bet against then, I would think. Keep an eye on them, right? Fifth, sixth inning. If they've got a 2-3 run lead, maybe take the other side. That's like a Zerillo special. You take the first 5. Maybe he'll take
Favorite.
first 5s on Oakland and then say, all right, come back and bet the other side, money line. But maybe Oakland A's might not be the team to trust in that scenario. Anywho, or go against them, yes, but to trust them even in the first 5 is probably not a good idea either. Wow, they've been terrible. Okay.
And then I also bet some Giants Cardinals over 8.5 up to 9. Woodford against Brebbia. Brebbia is going to be an opener. They're going to try to avoid Manaea the first time through. I like Manaea, but it really doesn't matter who the lefty is. If they're facing the St. Louis Cardinals, I'm going to look to play against him. Woodford's underlying numbers have been awful. I don't think his rotation days have much longer. I think he's pretty much pitching for his job here, and I think he's going to lose his job to Matthew Liberatore. He's sitting in AAA right now, pitching really well with his increased velocity. We're going to be seeing him soon because Woodford is not he's a replacement level major league starter. Projected ERA over 4.5, closer to 5. And the wind is blowing out tonight at Oracle Park, 10 miles an hour straight out. So I like the over in that game.
Final bets from BJ. And speaking of an A's first 5,
Yeah.
you like the A's in the first 5.
I do.
I didn't read that when I said what I said.
Yeah, I believe in Mason Miller. Anthony said the stuff plus numbers are real. Adding the extra pitch is very, very good. Only first 5, though, not even going to touch the A's bullpen. And like you mentioned with Griffin Canning, just hasn't really pitched that much and hasn't really been that good. Be on the Astros Rays over 8. You can find it at even money out there. Luis Garcia has not been very good so far for Houston. He's got expected ERA sitting over 4. The stuff plus numbers are both under 100. He's going up against Drew Rasmussen, who does have really, really good stuff plus numbers to begin the season. He's at 125 through a couple starts, but he's mainly a fastball cutter pitcher, which is the same as Taj Bradley from last night. And the Astros were able to get to him very early. And the Rays, they're the best offense in Major League Baseball. So I think that the total is a tad low there. I also like the Twins and Yankees under. I would not play a juiced 7. I would rather play an under 6.5 at plus 105 if I could. Nestor Cortez has continued to be really, really good.
Yep.
And the Twins have been one of the worst offenses in Major League Baseball against left-handed pitching. And the flip side of it, this is something I wrote about on the actionnetwork.com, but the Yankees lineup, Rizzo and Judge and Torres are all really good so far this season, but the bottom half of the Yankees order is really, really bad. So if you can just get through the first few guys there, that's why you see the Yankees overall for the season so far very average and weighted on base average and weighted runs created plus. And these two bullpens are top 6 in Major League Baseball in xFIP and stuff plus and all these other metrics. And then I'm also with Anthony on the Mariners and Phillies under 8.5.
Play the full game unders if the bullpens are not.
If they're good, if the bullpens are good, play the full game under. But I'd rather play under 6.5 at plus money than juiced 7 at like minus 125.
Joe Ryan's the pitcher for Minnesota. He has been granted a ton of run support in his starts this year.
And Anthony loves him. He's very good.
He's good. Oh, he's good. He's got 2 10 strikeout games I'm seeing here. Kansas City got 7 runs. Houston 9.
I'm just mad I don't have a ticket on him.
To win the Cy Young. What's he
I
at
talked
now?
about it, but I never actually bet it.
What's he at now? Is it not
He
playable?
should be minus 150, but he's probably still 50.
I talked to Zerillo beforehand. He had him at minus 350, Anthony.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't project it that well.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I mean, Cole's still the favorite, obviously, but I'm guessing that Ryan is in the top 5 or 6 now.
Okay.
I haven't actually looked at the odds in a couple of days.
Okay. Joe Ryan. Well, I'll let you, sorry, I put you on the spot there. Joe Ryan is has also given up a home run in each of his 4 starts. So
he's still 35-1.
Hmm.
I'm seeing here. Garrett Cole 4-1, Shohei 4-1, DeGrom 8-1.
The Shohei thing is very interesting as well. And I know
could get traded.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could get traded to the National League, and then suddenly
He's out of all awards markets.
Out of all the awards. So don't bet. I know Shohei is awesome. If you don't already have a ticket on him for MVP or Cy Young, just don't bet it. Like, if you want to bet some other guys that maybe provide value, go ahead and do that. But
Joe Ryan.
Especially now that the Angels don't have Logan O'Hoppe, big downgrade to the backup catcher, Matt Tyus, and that's going to hurt them, I think, in their playoff chase here.
Let's be very clear to our audience. Are you betting Joe Ryan at 35-1 or no?
Yes.
I'll join you, Anthony.
Look at that. You just ask what his odds are now, and they go take a little gander.
I mean, he was like 50-1 preseason, and he's been one of the 5 best pitchers in the league. So, and I like the Twins are doing some good stuff under the hood with their pitching development. It's very quietly. Louis Varland, it's been good. Bailey Ober's improved. So the Minnesota's doing something down there or up there with their staff and seeing some improvements.
I almost did it again. Dinger Tuesday picks before we get out of here. What do you got? Yeah,
the column will be up this afternoon. Still waiting on some lineup stuff and some more line movement. But so far, Matt Olson, top 3 in average exit velocity, top 10 in barrel rate. He's been electric to start the season, placed at plus 360, a little too low given the pitching matchup. I think he should be closer to plus 315, 320. So I'm going to take some Olson for the first pick and then read the column for the rest.
Thanks to BJ Cunningham, Anthony Dabundo. You can find each of them in the Action Network app. They do tend to, not just them, but our other sports betting contributors may add something to the app later in the day before first pitch gets going in these games. These games don't start till after 6 o'clock Eastern, so they could very well add as the day goes on. So find them there in the app. We are back on Friday. We're live every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday during the baseball season. For Anthony Dabundo, BJ Cunningham, Brendan Glasheen, thanks for tuning in, everybody, to Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast presented by BetMGM. Have a great Tuesday.